this. Okay. This is my agenda for the day. Timeline, just give an overview and significance of it. And next is how it works in MDM, some of the prerequisites which are required to configure the timeline, and few of the dependents like SMOS and syncing effective dates is additional feature which came in one of the recent hotfix. So before jumping on to timeline explaining the business use case, I took a small example of maybe an organization which run reports on the sales reports. So consider a sales report was taken mid of October 2013, where the report shows as that APAC is doing very good on plus 90s, whereas EMEA, which is about to touch 90s, but it is still, I mean, it is just an example which I am showing, where the EMEA stats are between 80 to 90, whereas US is touching approximately almost to 100. So this is the report which is taken in mid of October 2013 from an organization. Later, the same report is taken sometime in mid-December. But when we compare both the reports, you can see a drastic change when we compare the figures of EMEA and US. So, which is kind of a panic for the organization top manager, where all of a sudden why the report has gone wrong. So after further analyzing the data from where the reports are taken, they found that a sales rep was moved from US to EMEA, who is the best performer in US, has been moved to EMEA to increase the sales, which made the figures say the okay, let me go back. So the sales rep was moved in November. But when we say when I go back to the previous slide, I have taken the reports at quarter wise. So that means a sales rep was moved from one geography to another geo during the mid of quarter. So when this happens, what happens is it directly updates the system that this sales rep who has moved to EMEA completely from the beginning of the his entry. So that makes the reports invalid. That means whatever the sales he has done in US are also moved to EMEA reports. So which made the reports completely different what they looked in October and December. So the reason for this is that organization does not maintain the data of each record in versions. Like say if a sales rep is working for US geo till mid-October, then his reports or whatever the efforts he has kept in US region has to be calculated only in US region. Whereas when he moved to EMEA, only those efforts he has kept or in the EMEA region has to be calculated in the reports. It's not that when we moved one representative from one geo to another geo, all his past history will be moved to the new region, which is quite a big impact when we see, which is a day-to-day scenario, which will be a big impact to the organization. So to answer or to identify a solution for this problem, where we got a concept of versioning. So I have taken the example of a sales rep. It could be of a price tags. Like say there are few retail business where they have the pricing different from one season to a different season. So in that case, it is good to maintain the price of the products at different seasons with different versions. If we update the price directly without maintaining the past, so it will have a big impact on the whole process in the organization. So versioning or the timeline functionality in the versioning concept in the real-time business is going to solve the purpose of any such impacts on the business. So how? Okay, I hope everyone understood the real-time business use case, how it has an impact if we don't maintain versions on the day-to-day business. So how it works in MDM. So what, like as we have the impact on the real-time business, so MDM is also closely work with the master data of your business. It is good to have the versioning concept also available with MDM. So to have this functionality implemented in MDM, they came up with some rules which will help them to understand, like, okay, if the data is like this is how the application works. So I will give you a quick overview on the different rules that are applied when you enable the timeline functionality in MDM. So starting with the rule 1, so when you load the data, if the period start date and end date, so from this slide I will be a bit technical because I need to closely link the MDM with the real-time business. So period start date and end date are the two new columns which are introduced in 9.5 and later releases. Prior to 9.5 we don't see these columns. We don't have any versioning concept, so we maintain complete versioning based on these two columns, period start date and end date. In the further slides I will be using more frequently these period start date and end date columns. So rule 1, when period start date and end date are not specified, like I have an existing record where I didn't mention any of the start date and end date for a record. So at the time, that particular data is active for the whole, either in the past or future, that particular data is available for the business. So that means there are no versions available for that data, it can be applied straightforward. And if there is an existing period start date and end date, and if, like say I have an period start date and end date as null, and now I want to give a specific date, like say I want it to restrict this version of data to be applied only to a period of time. So say I have sent an update for that record, so it directly updates that particular version, that data to be available on a particular period. So this rule is straightforward. When you have a infinite active data, you can shrink the dates to a period which is applicable for the business. So you can just send an update for the period start date and end date that decides the activeness of that particular version of the record. Okay. Jumping on to rule 3, here I have an initial value. Say I have taken an example of, say I have insert, so whatever the sample data I am showing here is pointing to the cross-reference table. BO is nowhere reflected here. Completely it is the cross-reference data I am going to use because the period start date and end date columns are available only at the cross-reference level. Okay. So consider I have a cross-reference record which has the period start date as 8/1, that is August 1st to August 31st. And the custom column, say this organization name is a custom column which has the value as Informatica. So when I do an update, providing the same start date and end date and update the value as Infa, it will not have any impact. It will directly go and update the organization name from Informatica to Infa. So that means when you are doing an update to an existing record, if the period start date which is existing is the same as the update which you are sending, then it will go directly and update the custom columns. Okay. Rule 4. Say I have an initial value which is from August 1st to August 20 and which has a value of Informatica, and I am sending a new update as from 15th of August to 31st of August, the value should be organization name. So in that case, when I do this update, it will create multiple cross-reference. Say as I said earlier, before the update, the activeness of this record is from 1st August to 20th August, which is the value Informatica. But the business told me to say that from 15th of August to 31st of August, the value should not be Informatica, it should be Infa. So I did an update. So the cross-references are created in this way, sir, from 1st of August to 14th. That means from 15th it should be Infa, but till 14th I can retain the old value, that is Informatica. So from 1st of August to 14th August, the value organization name will be Informatica. But on the day 15th till the end of August, the value available for the business is INFA. So this way you can have multiple versions created based on the effective periods. I mean, you can make use of the period start date and end date and define what are the values to be available at a particular period of time. And on rule 5, say I have an initial value, say from 1st August to 31st of August with the value Informatica. But when I send an update as like a date prior, I mean the existing record is on from 1st August, but I have sent an update that it should be available from 1st of July. So from 1st of July till mid 20th August, that means there is an overlap with this existing data. So when I have this update as INFA, the cross reference will be segregated as from 1st of July till 20th August. The value should be the value available to the business should be INFA. From 21st, the business as usual, like whatever we have earlier, it has to retain. From 21st of August to 31st August, it should retain Informatica. So this is rule 5. And next is rule 6. When you have an initial value, say 1st of August to 31st of August, with a value of in a custom column as Informatica, and you have sent an update which is in between, like say 10th of August to 20th of August, which is kind of in between for the existing periods. When I send this update, the business purpose is from August 1st to August 9th, the value should be Informatica, but from 10th August to 20th August, the value should be INFA. So when I send this update, the cross reference will be segregated in such a way that from 1st August to 9th August, Informatica, from 10th to 20 INFA, and again it retains 21st to 31st, it is Informatica. So whenever there is an update in a, which is in between the periods, the cross reference will be segregated in this way, and the corresponding values will be available for the business as per the time. Rule 7. If an update comes with an effective period on or before the start date of existing cross-reference and end date after the existing cross-reference, then okay, let me go with the example. From 1st of August to 9th, it is Informatica, and from 10th to 20, it is INFA, and August 21st to 31st August, it is Informatica. I am sending an update that that means 9th of August to 21st of August, the value should be Informatica Business Solutions. That means this period is overlapping between all the 3 existing periods. So in that situation, it will segregate further and say that 1st of August to 8th August, the value should be same as it is, which is pointing to Informatica. From 8/9 to 8/21st, which is the new update, it should show as Informatica Business Solutions. And 8/22 to 8/31st, that is Informatica, again it retains. But as there is a much overlap between 8/20 to 8/10 to 8/20, which is completely overlapped by the new update, it will be soft deleted so that it is no more available for the business. Okay. Jumping on to rule 8. When you enable timeline in MDM, there is a property called allow non-contiguous effective periods. That means there could be few business where they can run that there can be gaps in their effectiveness. But for a proper leveraging the functionality of this timeline, we would recommend to have the allow non-contiguous effective period to be disabled. That means there should not be any gaps in the timeline. Okay, so consider the scenario where an existing cross-reference record has 1st August to 10th of August as Informatica, and the update send is 8/20 to 8/31st, which is no way linked. I mean, and you are telling that if there is no, if you want the organization, if the organization use case is to have gaps, it will directly go and insert the record in cross-reference, which will have the cross-reference record as below, as shown. Like 1st of August, it is to 10th of August is Informatica. from 20th to 31st it is INFA. But if you have the non-contiguous period to be disabled, then in that case it will throw an error that there is, because of this update there is a gap in the activeness. So the record will be rejected during the load or the update from real-time systems. Okay. Rule number 9. If an update comes with state as pending, when a new entry will get updated with a specific period. Consider I have a record with 1st of August to 31st of August as Informatica. I am sending a pending record, pending update to the existing record. So it will make an entry like 810 to 820. The value should be in, and this is a pending record to the hub. So it will directly insert the record into cross reference table. After promoting this pending record, it will further segregate into following the time rules 1 to 8. Like say, when I promote it, it will fall under rule 3 and 4, in that it has to further have break, from 810 to 910, follow this one, sorry, 1st of August to 10th of August, it has to be Informatica. From 10th to 20 it is INFA, and 21st to 31st Informatica. It is the same rules from 1 to 8 which will follow when you promote this pending record. While inserting, it won't consider any of the rules, but when you try to promote, it will apply all the rules from 1 to 8. Consider there is one other scenario where you have an active record and you have sent a pending update to that record, and after that you are trying to send one more active update to the same record. So at that point of time it will reject that record, saying that there is already a pending record available and you cannot do further active updates to this. And when you finish that load or when you finish that update, it will retain to the same position what it is earlier. So the update will not be taken into account. The records will be same before and after doing this update when you have a pending and active record available. Okay. Jumping on to next slide. Say the rule 10 talks about when you have an active and pending record and you are sending a active update, and rule number 11 talks about when you have an active and pending and you are trying to send a pending update. Okay, so when you send a pending update, you will directly go and insert into the cross reference table, and the further segregation will be done when you promote the individual pending records. Like say when I promote this second cross reference, then it will segregate accordingly. After that, when you promote the third cross reference, it will further segregate with the effective periods and the values which should be available for the business. Okay. Rule number 12, if BO is not configured for allow contiguous effective periods, and if there exists a contiguous cross reference entries, then deleting the cross reference is not possible. Okay, let me take this example. I have these records in the cross reference table for a BO row ID. From 1st of August to 9th of August, it is Informatica. From 10th to 20, it is INFA. 21st to 31st, it is Informatica Business Solutions. So in this case, I cannot delete the cross reference from 10 to 20. So if I delete this cross reference, that means there is a gap which cannot be, as I enable non-contiguous to my timeline functionality in Hub, I cannot directly delete this cross reference which is in the period 810 to 820. But you can work around the situation that say from 81 to 820 I want Informatica to be survived. So when you say you want to delete this particular cross reference which is available in the period from 10th of August to 20th of August, that means some other value should be available for the business during that period. So what I'm saying is indirectly I am doing an update for the first cross reference by extending from 89 to 820. So it is the same. 81 to 820 I am extending it to Informatica, and whatever is there earlier I am soft deleting it. So and the remaining the other cross reference which does not have any overlap, remains the same from 21st of August to 31st of August. Informatica Business Solutions you can again. So you can also do the other way. Like right now, I extended from 1st of August to 20th. You can also say that from 8/10 to 8/31st, make Informatica Business Solutions to be available for the business. So either way, you can send an update to extend the cross-reference which you don't want to have, rather directly deleting that cross-reference, which we don't do because of it will create the gaps and which conflicts the timeline rules. So that's all about the timeline rules 1 to 12. So based on that the rules, whenever you insert or update any record into the hub, all these rules will be applied and the cross-reference will be segregated accordingly based on their period start date and end date. So few of the prerequisites and important notes when you enable the timeline is you need to manually enable SMOS feature. So I will talk more about SMOS in further slides. When you enable timeline, it automatically enables history on the base objects and automatically enables state management because it plays around state management. By default, the HM rel objects are timeline enabled. So if you are creating a rel object in the hub on 9.5 or later releases, it will be timeline enabled by default. For few of the customers where they did an upgrade from 9.01, or any release prior to 9.5, when they do an upgrade to 9.5 or later versions, the rel objects will be automatically changed to timeline enabled, and the corresponding rel start date and end dates will be moved to period start date and end date. So when you enable timeline in the hub, earlier prior to 9.5 releases, the BBT is calculated based on the P key, source system, and upstate indicator. But from 9.5 we also include period start date and end date when you calculate the BBT. Because as we need the best version of truth at a particular point of time, and when we have multiple versions, we want the best version of truth to be available for the business. So that's why we consider the start date and end date also to be participating in the BBT process. What is State Management Override System, SMOS? Prior to 9.5, end-dating a relationship is just an update to BO record. Where you set rel end date to sys date. Like say when ITD application, you open any rel object and try to end date, it will just update the rel end date to sys date, and from the next day the particular relation is inactive. But it is quite different in 9.5 and later versions because of this timeline functionality. We have some impact with respect to the end dating relationship is one area where you cannot directly update the end date, because earlier in 9.5 releases you have the effective date, that is rel start date and end date at BO level. But because of the timeline functionality, we have moved the effective dates, that is period start date and end date, to cross-reference level. So there is no easy way that you can directly update a cross-reference to end date any relationship. So consider these are the records linked to a particular row ID. So these three records are from three different source systems: SFDC, IDD, and sales. Okay, each has their own values, and consider this is a rel BO and has the relationship dates as this. End dating a relationship in timeline enabled BO is of two parts. One is you update the existing relationship till what time it should be active, and the next thing is you need to ensure that as you are end dating it today, from tomorrow, it should not be available as an active relationship in the IDD or to the business. So to achieve this end dating functionality in timeline, and I'll use this slide. Consider IDD source system, like IDD source system you configured as the SMOS source system. So when you end date the relationship in 9.5, the IDD source system will create an additional cross-reference record with upstate indicator as -1 and the deleted indicator as -9999, and if you are ending the relationship today, the period start date of the newly created record will be today 27th of Feb, and the end date will be null. That means from today, infinite time, this particular relationship is inactive. It is no more available. So this is how I show to the business, it is kind of having the same functionality of end date, similar to we have it in prior to 9 releases, we achieve using the SMOS. So SMOS is nothing but when I want to end date, like say there are other cross references which are active, like HotFix indicator 1, which are active even after the the activeness of this relationship. So earlier in the BO, when I set it as end date, for a particular BO, for a relationship, when I end date it, I will update the BO record rel end date with the system date. But as we don't have these effective dates available at BO level, the cross-reference records should be overridden by one of the source systems, which tells the system that this particular relationship is no more active in the future. So to achieve this, we have the property called SMOS, State Management Override System. That means I am overriding the state of the record whenever there is like here the concept is end dating. So whenever there is a concept of overriding end dating, I am using the SMOS source system to do that change and override the state of the record and make it available for the business for the dates for which the business needs it to be active. Okay. So how you can know that an SMOS entry is created? You can see an additional cross-reference record created with SMOS source system. So here in this case, I have taken IDD as the SMOS enabled source system. So IDD source system will there is additional cross reference pointing to IDD source system with period started. Like if you end it today, so the activeness is till yesterday. So from today it should be inactive. So what we do is period started, we will have the current sys date, and till future it will be the HotFix indicator will be managed on. That means it is no more active. And this inactiveness to be overridden by all the existing cross reference, all the other cross reference. That's why we have this internally. Our code will check for this deleted indicator and HotFix indicator -1 and decide what is the activeness of the relationship. Okay. One other important thing, maybe most of the business use is thinking of the effective dates. Say consider during the ideal process, I have given the dates as null to null. That is infinite period of time this particular business data to be active. But later, due to a requirement like the seasonal, like taking the example here, like consider there is a product in a warehouse which is available for infinite period. While doing the initial data load, we pass the start and end date as null and null. Later, the retailer wants to string this effectiveness to a period, definite period of time. So at this situation, we don't have the a provision in either IDD or the batch jobs where you can sync the effective dates. So the only if you send an update providing these dates, it will automatically segregate the cross references so that you will not achieve what business needs. So there is one other property which is available in IDD, mark for save. So even mark for save almost do the same. When you open any IDD record and do some change and you give a effective period, when after saving that particular change will be available and you can change the effective periods during that time. But mark for save will be available only if you have any change in the custom columns. Consider I don't want to change any of the value in my custom columns or the business columns, but I just want to sync the effective dates by just providing an update for that record. So that can be achieved using this new functionality which came in 9.1 HF4. It is not available in any of the prior versions. It is introduced in 9.1 HF4. There will be a new checkbox, update existing period. This will be available whenever you open a record in IDD. When you click on these are applicable only for the existing records. That means whenever you are trying to update a record, you will have this property available. If you are inserting a new record, there is no, it doesn't make sense to have this because we are inserting it, we are not updating it. So when you have these two properties, like this can be enabled when you apply HF4, automatically these two global properties will be available in your CMX system C repos DS pref detail table. Just mark it as true for these two global properties, and you can bounce the application server because there is a change in CMX system. And see in IDD application, whenever you try to sync any of the effective dates without change in any of the business columns, you can still sync the effective dates based on the business use case. And these are some of the references on the timeline or the SMOS and the syncing effective dates. Okay, so I think I have covered the timeline overview, why it is important or why it is critical for the day-to-day business, and how it is implemented in MDM or in the hub using the set of rules from like set 12 rules, which will help the incoming records to be segregated accordingly, and importance of the SMOS when you do any end dating of the relationship and syncing of the effective dates. Now I will move on giving access to my colleague Arindam, who can talk about MDM Environment Management tools. Arindam, are you there?
Yeah, Naveen, I'm there. So let me just share my desktop now. So hello everyone. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to give an introduction of some of the support tools that have been integrated with the MDM product over the past few releases. So basically the agenda for today is I will give you an overview of a couple of tools, the Configuration Support Manager or the CSM, followed by the User Migration tool. These two tools are already integrated with the MDM product. And then I will be giving an overview of the MDM Tools Roadmap that we have, where I will share some of the details of the tools we are planning to introduce in the future releases. So let's start with the Configuration Support Manager or the CSM tool. So basically what the CSM tool does is it gathers configuration system and environment as well as product details of a machine or a node that is hosting the Informatica MDM product. So it gathers details of different products with versions as well as patches. So it will provide you with version and patch details of the application server, the database that you are using, the operating system that you are using, as well as the MDM hub versions. It will also provide you with system information like memory, CPU, and the disk information like the available disk size and free disk. And it will provide you with application server properties like the heap size and the Java ops that we have. So it will help you with debugging out of memory issues that we commonly face in MDM system. So it will provide you with product specific details such as virtual information, the CMX server properties, CMX.cleanse properties, the log4j details for both the hub and the client server. So this will help us in isolating issues easily if we can find like a specific property is missing or is incorrectly populated in any one of the CMX server or the CMX client properties files. Environment details such as basic environment details that we use to set up, for a successful MDM execution, such as the Java home, path, LG library path, Oracle home, SSPR are gathered in using this particular tool as well. It also provides you with the license details from the Cyprian.license file that we have. So it's actually to ensure that you have proper license to use the different features in MDM, and also to trigger you in case your license is expiring in the near future. And the last thing it maintains is the metadata details of the master and operating the operation resource operational reference store, or the ORS. So basically, we all know that MDM is a metadata-driven product. So some important information from the master and the ORS schema will help us isolate issues related to the DB version table, the DB release table, and also the C reports table. So how is this particular tool useful? So basically, since it collects all version compatibility details for the hub, the app server, the Oracle, and the operation system, so we can find any anomalies or symptoms with respect to the PAM or the product availability metrics that we have that can cause issues in the customer environment. It also helps us to replicate or reproduce an issue easily by creating a similar environment locally. And it helps in providing solution for the customers easily and quickly, because it basically reduces time in getting the environment details using back and forth emails with the customer, and also collecting those details through conference calls or WebEx. So this is basically how the configuration support manager UI will look like. So this is our MDM support tools console. You can see a CSM tab over here. So once you log into this CSM utility, you would see the hosts, the hub and clients hosts that have been installed, and the host names and port details, as well as the hub server home location, hub server and client server home location will also be displayed. So in order to collect CSM, you need to click on this collect CSM link, and it would generate the CSM files in an XML, which is actually a readable, which will be in a readable format, and it will, and then you would see these two icons. You can see the save icon here, and the next icon is the upload icon. So there are two options. You can either save that particular XML file and share it with us through an SR, or you can actually go ahead and upload the CSM file to the My Support portal using this upload button, upload icon. So that's all about the CSM tool. I will now go ahead with the next tool that we have introduced, which is called the user migration tool. So basically, we are all aware of a current gap in the product, which is like currently while migration or promotion of metadata from one environment to another in the MDM hub, the users configured under environments do not migrate. So therefore, we may need manual intervention in order to create those users from the hub console, or some customers also use some manual scripts to create those users in bulk. So we have seen a lot of customer enhancement requests earlier with respect to this particular requirement. So we have come up with this user migration tool, and basically it does three things. One is migrate the users across different environments. So you can export a user from a development environment and migrate them into a production environment or a QA environment. Bulk creation of users. So basically, it's you can put in all the user information in a CSV file, and then you can use the CSV to import all these users into a particular MDM application. And thirdly, it will also allow you to update the information about the existing users in bulk. So in the CSV file itself, we'll be able to update basic information about a user. So this is basically how the UI of the user migration tool looks like. You can see this user migration tab in the MDM support tool console. So you need to select an ORS and click on this retrieve button. So what it will show you is all users that are linked to that particular ORS will be displayed in this particular ORS users list grid. So you can click on this export button. You need to select the, whatever users you want to export and import into another environment. You can select those users using the checkbox and then click on this export users button. So once you click on this export users button, it will actually create a CSV file similar to this one. So it basically contains all user specific details that you can also modify from the hub console, like username, login message, and title and first name, middle name, last name, all these things. So this is a CSV file that you can download and keep it in your local machine. And the next step would be to import the user. So you can see that I have actually exported this CSV file, and you have this option called import users button. So this option allows you to import that particular CSV file. So once you import the CSV, you would see there were a couple of grids. So the grid that you see below is the import users results grid, which shows you the result of the import operation that you did. So here you can see that I have inserted a record with username test user, and it will also refresh the grid above, which is the ORS users list, showing that a new user called test user has been inserted into your MDM system, which is linked to this same ORS. So the release versions, the CSM or the Configuration Support Manager is integrated with MDM in the 951 HF3 branch. So it's accessible from the MDM Hub console itself. You can go to the Help menu and click on the MDM Support Tools to access the CSM tool. It's also accessible from the Enterprise Manager, where you can go to the Environment tab and click on the MDM Support Tools link. The user migration tool is available in MDM versions 951 SF5 and 9.7, and these versions are also supported in earlier versions. So if you if you still want these two tools in earlier versions, we would request you to raise an SR, and Informatica support team will get in touch with you and provide you the instructions for the manual deployment of these tools. So these basically covers the two tools that we have currently integrated in our product. I will now go ahead and talk about the MDM Tools Roadmap that we have. So basically, there are a couple of tools that we are going to introduce in the near future. One is the User Migration Tool Phase 2, which is extending the current UMT tool to migrate the user role assignment information as well. So currently we are just migrating the users, but do not migrate the assignment or the user role relationship from environment A to environment B. So that facility will be provided by the phase 2 of this user migration tool. And we are also allowing the bulk deactivation of users in phase 2, which is like we have a column called user enabled indicator, which is used for activating or deactivating the users. So in the CSV file itself, you can directly deactivate all those users, and when you import it, it will simply update the users and deactivate the users. The second tool that we are planning to introduce is the mass analysis tool. So this mass analysis tool, basically it's the mass analysis tool phase 1 that we'll be introducing. So phase 1 is an interactive way to troubleshoot tokenization related issues, wherein the tool will help the customers as well as the support team by providing a health check of the match and tokenization related parameters and point out any mismatch in the tokenization configurations if we have. So using this tool, like both the customers and the support team can easily troubleshoot tokenization related issues. So this is how our mass analysis tool is going to look like. So basically it will give you a health check for each base object. For example, here I have selected party base object. So apart from giving a health check about the system, about the hub server and the client server, it will also tell you give you tokenization related parameter information of the base object that you are selecting here. So to give you an example here, you can see the grade here, which gives the health check results for a hub server, where you can see this particular example shows that there are two errors. One is the NLS character set is not set to UTF type, and the second one is the number of records. There are 8 records that have null values in the fuzzy key column, which means that those records won't be tokenized correctly. So apart from that, it also gives some findings like whether the exact match object indicator is disabled or not. So if it's disabled, then it's fine. That means it's a fuzzy BO and you can run the tokenized job on that particular BO. So the info portion gives you information about all these parameters for the BO as well as for the hub server. The second one is it will also give you some health check results for the client server as well. For example, here it talks about some errors like we know that the LD library path and the Java home should be properly set for a tokenization job to run correctly, and the population file should also exist and should be enabled for a particular population. It will also give you some information about the population files that we have. For example, if you have multiple client servers, it will provide you with the names of population files that we have as well as the file sizes. So suppose you have a corrupt population file somewhere, so we can compare the sizes of the population files in the different client servers. And the last thing it will mention you is the biometrics about a particular base object. Basically, it will give you the tokenization related parameters like the total number of BO records, the base object type, how many like records having dirty indicator 1, consolidation indicator 9, and also if there are any records with null fuzzy match key. So that is basically all from my side. For references, there are a couple of KBs that the support team has put forward. One is how to install configuration support manager and generate reports for MDM. So it contains a detailed README file on how you can use the CSM tool and generate the report and share the details with the support team. And the second one is about the user migration tool. It again contains a README file on how to the step-by-step guide on how to use the user migration tool. So that is all from my side. I will give it over to Naveen now for any questions that you might be having.
Thank you, Harinam. I have got a couple of questions. One of them is, like say, the presentation which we have given just now is available. Like it is recorded, it is available at the support portal, so you can even look back to this presentation if you want to have a detail on the same demo. And the one other question is on the rule number 7. Okay.
I'll go back to rule number 7. I mean.
Yeah, rule number 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one gentleman has a question that after the update, you see that there is one cross references which got soft deleted, upset indicator -1. Will that be done automatically by the hub? Yeah. The question is, that's right. Yeah. The answer is yeah. When you send an update where it is completely overlapping with an existing cross reference, then we automatically soft delete that record, and it will create a new entry for the new update which came in. Okay. So hope that answered the question you have on the rule number 7. And one other question is how to procure the CSM and all the tools which are created by support. So in one of the slide, Arindam has mentioned. Arindam, can you go move on to the slide where the releases where we have this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the releases which are available within the product without any manual work. So you just click a button, you will be redirected to the tool section. So in 951 HF3 you have two places. One is that when you launch the Hub Console, about help, in the help you have MDM support tools. You can click that option, you will be redirected to this page. And one other place in Enterprise Manager Workbench, in the Environment Tools tab, there is a tab Environment Report. Next to Save button, there is a one more button called MDM Support Tools. When you click on it, it will directly navigate you to this page. Okay, and if all the tools which were discussed by Arindam were not licensed. They are available for free. We found this will help both the customers and also the SIs, the system integrators, and also the engineers to reduce the time going back and forth in capturing some of the important information in isolating the issues. So in case if you are not in any of these versions which are mentioned here, it is a WAR-based utility where you need to deploy this WAR into an ER file, the server ER file. So you can raise a service request to the Informatica support team. They will guide you on the instructions how to manually deploy this WAR file into the server ER file and make use of these support tools. Okay. And one last question is there a way to migrate roles from one environment to another environment? So this is available in the product right now. So when you do a metadata promotion or migration, the roles will be migrated from one environment to another. This is already available in the product. Only the gap is the users and the user to role mapping is not moved between the environment. That's where this utility of the user migration tool will help you. I hope that's all the questions I got so far. If there are any further questions, maybe you can put forward. We are happy to help you clarify those questions or queries.
So Naveen, thank you so much. This is Patabi here again. So if anyone has any further questions on the presentation, you can feel free to post it on the My Support portal. And recording of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel as we mentioned earlier. You can also post your questions and comments on that video as well. So thank you so much. Thanks everyone for your time, and we will see you next month for the next webinar. Good. Have a good day everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.